there was a young girl named Sarah. Sarah was a bright and curious child, always full of questions about the world around her. But as she grew older, she noticed something troubling. Her mind seemed to be constantly racing with thoughts. Sometimes they were good thoughts, but often they were worries, fears, and doubts that made her feel anxious and unhappy. One day, Sarah's grandfather, who was known in the town for his wisdom, noticed her distress. He invited her to sit with him under an old oak tree in their backyard. "Sarah," her grandfather began, "I see that something is troubling you. What is it?" Sarah sighed and said, "Grandfather, my mind never seems to rest. It's like there's a storm inside, and I don't know how to calm it." Her grandfather smiled gently and said, "Let me tell you a story, Sarah. It's the story of the two wolves that live inside each of us." Sarah's eyes widened with curiosity as her grandfather continued. "Inside every person, there are two wolves fighting a battle. One wolf is full of anger, envy, greed, fear, and doubt. The other wolf is full of peace, love, kindness, hope, and wisdom. These two wolves are always at war, trying to gain control over our minds." Sarah thought for a moment and then asked, "Which wolf wins, grandfather?" "The one you feed," her grandfather replied. "If you feed the wolf of anger and fear with negative thoughts, it will grow stronger and take control. But if you feed the wolf of peace and love with positive thoughts, it will become the master of your mind." Sarah pondered this for a while. "But how do I feed the good wolf, grandfather?" Her grandfather's eyes twinkled with wisdom as he said, "Feeding the good wolf means being mindful of your thoughts. When you notice a negative thought creeping in, don't let it take root. Instead, replace it with a positive one. For example, if you're worried about something, remind yourself of what you're grateful for. If you're afraid, think of a time when you were brave. By doing this, you strengthen the good wolf." "But what if the bad wolf is already strong? What if I've been feeding it without realizing it?" Sarah asked. Her grandfather nodded. "That can happen to anyone, Sarah. But remember, it's never too late to change. The mind is like a garden, and you are the gardener. Just as you would remove weeds from a garden to make room for flowers, you can remove negative thoughts from your mind to make room for positive ones. It takes patience and practice, but over time, the good wolf will become stronger." Sarah smiled, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a long time. "I think I understand now, grandfather. I have the power to choose which wolf I feed and which one I let grow." Her grandfather hugged her and said, "Exactly, my dear. You are the master of your mind. The thoughts you choose to nurture will shape your reality. By feeding the good wolf, you can create a life filled with peace, happiness, and wisdom." From that day forward, Sarah practiced being mindful of her thoughts. Whenever she felt the bad wolf trying to take over, she would pause, breathe, and choose to feed the good wolf instead. And as she did, she noticed that the storm inside her mind began to calm, replaced by a sense of clarity and peace. Moral: the battle for control of our minds is ongoing, but we have the power to choose which thoughts we feed. By nurturing positive thoughts, we strengthen the parts of ourselves that lead to a life of peace, happiness, and wisdom. So which wolf are you feeding today? Write the answer in the comments. Thanks for watching and be blessed.